Can we do it?
Welcome everyone to the Media Brew. We're live from IBC 2025. We're hosted by our partners at Bedrock Streaming. And so today we're talking industry, trends, and coffee. And for the first interview, let me welcome someone you do not know at all. This is my co-host, Evan Shapiro. Hello, Evan.
Good to see you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. Co-host on our podcast, but not co-host of this.
No.
Right. This is your thing. You're doing this without.
Yeah. I'm doing this without
Once
you.
again,
Yeah, I
cheating
know.
on me.
I know.
It's
I know.
really
Well,
awesome
where
how
were
we
you
cheer.
last night? Didn't you karaoke without me?
I did till
Okay.
2 a.m.
Yes.
That's why I sound like this. But with our mutual friend Lynette.
Love
But
it.
we're going for sushi tonight.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. That's a plan. But we have a few more things to do here today. And so let me get you started. You've been here for, a few days already. And so before joining, what was the person that you wanted to meet the most? Can you name that person? And also perhaps you did not expect, but actually met someone awesome.
Okay, two things. One, we don't get to spend enough time in person together.
Yeah,
Typically,
100%.
we host a podcast
Yeah.
virtually on the cloud. As you said, we spend $200 on all of our production. Mine is $400, right? $400. And so getting to spend time with you IRL, and we're going to dinner tonight, and we podcasted here. So that was what I was most looking
Oh, wow.
forward to,
I love
spending
it.
time. I know. And then your great event on Thursday, which was just totally amazing. I was so happy to be there, even though I was late. So that was a lot of fun. So I guess I got to talk with some folks who I write about a lot.
Okay.
I write about Warner Brothers Discovery. I write about Paramount. I write about Google. And in each case, I was able to have a kind of really intense conversation with people from these companies without, the distance of my newsletter or LinkedIn
Yeah.
between us. And it was really nice. I think I found out that we had much more in common, all these different companies, even the old school traditional media players and the new players like Google and Amazon. When you sit them down and you say, what's the most challenging thing? What would you transform if you could transform anything? There's a lot more similarity than there is difference. And so getting to spend time with these companies that we analyze all the time without the distance of the computer between us, that was really cool.
That says a lot about the fact that perhaps there's like two narratives, like what we're seeing in public and what is being said behind closed doors. And I think that says a lot about the value of those events. Of course, meeting new folks, nurturing, your existing relationship, but also getting to the truth, right, of a lot of what's going on in this industry.
Yeah,
Cool.
totally. People were, you get a couple of glasses of wine into that.
And that helps. Yeah,
So get a little more.
100%. Yeah, this morning we're just doing coffee. Okay, awesome. I think second question for you, have you heard or seen anything, that you did not expect, something innovative? This is a technology conference after all.
It's interesting. I think it's more, we talked about this, the lack of a technology than the technology itself. So traditionally you'll come to IBC to the right here and you'll see these big white production vans out front. Right? You see them at sporting events, and they're gone this year. They're not a fewer of them. They don't exist. They're gone. They're completely absent. And it's not that those production companies aren't here. It's that they've moved all that production to the cloud.
So everything is in the sky, no longer in front of IBC.
Well, but then you walk into the conference halls, right? And this is Bedrock Streaming. So this is all virtual stuff. This is the streaming hall. This is actually the cool hall, right? This is the cool kids hall. This is the streamers, the digital people. But right over there, you'll see these huge mixing boards and these huge cameras and all this production equipment that the companies themselves admit, like doing away with the band, they no longer need. And so I think the thing is, the middle name of this conference is Broadcasting, International Broadcasting Conference. But rather than replace that, broadcasting has become the description of a technology or a format or a protocol. But in reality, as we know, the definition of it is broadcasting, sending your signal to many people all at once. And I think that was the most interesting thing that I found, is that all these companies agree we have to reclaim that definition. We have to redefine what broadcasting means to really truly describe what it is. You're broadcasting on BBC, you're broadcasting on the iPlayer, you're broadcasting on YouTube, you're broadcasting on TikTok. That's all broadcast.
Yes. Okay, so looking ahead, what is, in your opinion, the biggest trend that we'll be seeing in the next year or so?
It's a good question. I think the move that we just discussed, the idea that the production vans are no longer outside, so that I think the trend you'll see is more to the cloud, right? Um, the hope is that we find efficiencies, that we find ways to bring down the cost of physical production and physical distribution, and that we get to reinvest that money back in the content itself. That's the hope, the trend I hope we see, because the argument you hear from the CFOs is we should be bringing down the costs.
Yeah.
And so their answer is always cut people. But in reality, the hope is we can convince the CFOs. There's one trend that I also noticed amongst all these companies. They really regret the CFO-led culture.
Yeah.
They really regret the fact that the CFOs, not the visionaries, are now running all of these businesses. And they hope that they can convince the C-suite to take the savings and the cuts and reinvest it in the future. So I'm hoping that's the trend we see.
Awesome. Okay, so let's look ahead a bit more. In 5 years' time, we'll all be talking about.
I think in 5 years' time, we'll be talking about the convergence of broadcast. That when you send a signal out, I was talking to Eurovision earlier today, and I think they get it in the way that they know they have to be on the TV, on the proper broadcaster, because the broadcaster is actually literally paying for it, right? But all those broadcasters have streaming apps. And when you look at the most innovative, as you would say, or I say innovative, companies out there, BBC, SVT, they were in streaming first, but then they stopped innovating.
Yeah, they're stuck, right?
Right. I think we'll see them move to not just broadcast and app, but now also YouTube and TikTok and all the new technologies. You know, who knows what'll come up in the next 5 years? There might be another TikTok, a new player in the space. But they will say we need to reach all of our audience all at once. Let's broadcast across everything.
I love it. Thank you for being with us. That was the Media Brew with Evan Shapiro. So, Evan, how do you take your coffee?
I like a cappuccino with 2 shots of espresso.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's get that.
Okay.